Breaking travel news from across the world.
Breaking travel news in Doha for the IATA General Meeting, the 70th edition, and we're travelling the globe from our fixed position here. We're going to head now down to Nairobi, so to speak, to find out what Kenya Airways are doing. What's the latest news? What's the breaking news on breaking travel news from the airline, Titus?
The latest news is that we've already received our first 787, Dreamliner, which arrived in Nairobi 2 months ago. We have not been able to put it on to commercial production because we'll be using it for training.
Sure.
But the good news is that on Wednesday he's going to do his maiden flight to Paris, and I'm flying to Paris tomorrow to go and receive it.
So it must have been quite frustrating in some ways to have the aircraft, but of course safety considerations, regulations, having to go through crew training, having it for a few months, but now your first real operating flight to Paris, you say?
I think it may be frustrating, but I think the good news is after you've gone through all that frustration, and here you are ready to start flying. It's fantastic. You forget about the frustration.
It's like a kid with a new toy you wanted to take out.
Great,
A new
great.
bike you want to take out on the road, but you've got to use it in your garden perhaps before you can go out on the road.
Yeah, great. In fact, that's why I'm having to leave Doha earlier
Okay.
than expected to go right into Paris and see the aircraft landing.
Why use it for Paris? Explain the reasoning behind that.
The logic behind it is that we are getting the 767s replaced by the 787s. So the first aircraft that we're going to replace happens to be the aircraft we've been using onto Paris. The second reason is that knowing that the Air France KLM arrangement out there would give us very, very good support, we decided to start off with the first aircraft using it in Paris, where we can get the support, rather than going into remote destinations to start with, because there's a learning curve, because it's a new aircraft.
Okay, so that's the first piece of breaking news, using
Yes.
the Dreamliner into Paris from Nairobi. What other news have you got for us here on Breaking Travel News?
Have you got enough time for it? Because I have a lot
carry
of
on.
it. The second piece of news is that we're getting the second 787 this month, around the 22nd of June. Then there'll be an aircraft every month until the month of October, when we will have had our last sixth aircraft. The other breaking news is that we are opening a new destination in Nigeria. That's direct flights between Nairobi and Abuja. And I know a lot of people are interested in that or would be interested in that. We are also starting a new flight that goes through Lagos and then goes into Abuja, from Abuja into Nairobi, a 777-300 brand new aircraft.
So by all accounts, what you're saying here, a massive amount of investment into the airline with the acquisition of Dreamliners and 777s. What sort of money are we talking about?
Big money.
Sure.
Big money, and I don't have my accountant here or my finance director, and I'm not very good in mathematics, so I couldn't give you the number.
Okay, so a serious investment in the development, the expansion of the airline. So what is your plan, your program for the next 4 to 5 years?
The way I see is that we've gone into a program that has will enable us to renew the planes that we have. I see us going ahead with another expansion program that takes us into the 10th year, because we started a 10-year program about 4 or 5 years ago.
Sure.
So I can see more narrow bodies coming in and more wide bodies coming in. Now, a lot of our business is linked to Africa. And as African airspace gets opening up, because a lot of it is still closed, that will then drive our own expansion in terms of fleet modernization and increasing the numbers.
And in terms of opening up that airspace, where would you like to be flying?
I'd like to be able to fly to the region around Eastern Africa more, in terms of more frequencies, and also around West Africa, more frequencies into those parts. But the whole industry is not predicated on just opening up frequencies or opening up airspace. We also have to make sure that we have the right infrastructure, because there are a number of airports that don't have enough adequate infrastructure. We also have to make sure that we have pilots, because there is a pilot shortage worldwide, and therefore you try and marry the two together. If you look at our training, since the year 2007, We've increased our pilot numbers from 170 to 505 right now.
And
that has been around internal training.
And here at the IATA annual general meeting, that is one of the sessions on day 2, looking at the talent available to the airline industry. So staying with this conference, from your perspective, what is perhaps the key messages and the key action being put out by IATA to help you with your development?
I think the key message here is to governments especially. That the governments must continue to support the airline industry, the aviation industry, because it means a lot in terms of the economies. If you look at tourism is a major input into economies of the various countries. And without the aviation industry, you really can't develop tourism. Yeah.
And just sort of thinking now, you're involved in marketing, you've got the new routes, you've got the Dreamliner flying into Paris. Marketing is very important. Last year you were involved with the World Travel Awards, which had the final for the Africa region in Nairobi. How important is events like the World Travel Award to you and the airline industry?
They're extremely important because they position the country into the rest of the world. And it's amazing how many people don't know what happens in various countries in the world. And therefore, an event like that one is very, very important to us. And the more we do, the more we attend some of these things, the more we open up the country to the world.
Sure. Well, thanks very much for talking to us. Thank you for telling us about your breaking news here on Breaking Travel News, and have a great flight into Paris with the Dreamliner. Thank you.
Thank you.